because obviously you do quite a lot, don't you? You're like a poet, an artist, and a singer.
Right, yeah, I make paintings. So I'm a visual artist, and that can be drawings, watercolors, oil paintings, writings. I've been an art critic, and I'm a music producer,
Oh
composer,
yeah.
songwriter, and I'm also performing, right? Vocals, guitar, drums. So I'm doing a lot, yeah. I get around.
What's your main focus at the minute? Is it music?
For me, it's a conversation between all of it. The music informs the paintings, and the paintings respond to the art, and that's why I chose the name Samuel the Artist, because it's sort of a play on the fact that it's not just one art form happening.
Yeah. And what inspired you to start or get into it all? Like, why did you start?
When I was 12 years old, my father grew up in the 60s. He showed me Jimi Hendrix, Cream, some earlier blues people like Robert Johnson, and it just made sense to me. I got a Fender Strat and I never stopped. I was in, rock bands when I was very young. I did take some time away from music, focusing entirely on art, and then decided I would come back and do it in a serious way using the skills that I have.
Oh, cool, man. Is that who your biggest influences are? And people like Dylan and Hendrix and is it you? Because you, if some of your songs got like a little bit of a hip hop thing going on as well.
Yeah.
When I was listening.
Yeah, I don't know that there's one influence. I consume a lot of music, whether it's world music and reggae and African music, or if it's American hip hop, rap, um, and indie pop, indie rock. Everything kind of comes through into my ears, into my consciousness. But the earliest music I heard was blues, Jimi Hendrix, Cream, American blues. So I think that at the end of the day, I kind of root back to that. But I've always loved hip hop. I've loved all genres and folk music too, and
Yeah.
folk songwriter. So I think that I'm just blending genres, but the focus for me, I think, is somewhere in a pop world, but more of a chill indie pop sort of sound. For a while, I was studying formally like songwriters, Paul Simon, Joni Mitchell, Crosby, Stills and Nash, the Beatles, Jimi Hendrix. So I think that you'd call that like pop music or rock music from across the decades, and
Yeah.
songwriters, the craft of songwriting. So to me, it's just about making something that people feel or has an emotion or a message to it. But yeah, I think a big part of my identity right now is being 33 and
Yeah.
having had all these experiences in my life, and then yet deciding, you know what, no, I'm gonna put my own music out there and work on it because I'm also a music producer. So I would get involved producing other people over the years. And I sort of decided, you know what? I don't care that I'm 33. Like, I just want to make music that I want to hear and kind of take that Kevin Parker, Tame Impala approach where it's like, I'm playing the instruments, I'm doing the engineering, I'm producing and mixing it. I am mastering it, but I think it's smart to get it mastered by someone else. But that kind of mentality of like, I'm just gonna make the music that I want to hear, and move away from servicing other artists' music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you find getting your music out there now? Like, because a lot of people, some people don't like the streaming aspect of it, and you've got to use social media a lot now as well, haven't you?
Yeah, it's funny. I actually do social media content management of accounts for businesses and personal brands, and I'm pretty good at making people go viral, and like building these like high quality accounts. I put out content. I don't know that I make content like to suit the audience. I kind of just make what excites me and interests me. I don't have the answers. I don't know if that anybody has the answers. I think artists have to find what works for them. And that could be, posting TikToks every day. That could be focusing more on the music and playlisting. That could be doing live shows and building organic. It could be some kind of combination of all of that. But I don't know that anybody has the answers. And I don't know if there's one answer. I think that each artist has to look at their personality and find what works for them. Um, I would say that finding out your artistic identity, having a core mission and sound, I think is helpful in terms of relating to listeners. And yes, you're putting yourself in a box, but I think it's important to narrow. and focus what you're doing in order to in order to do something really great and meaningful.
How do you feel about streaming?
Um, I'll tell you how I feel. I feel that Spotify does good work in terms of curating these playlists and pushing trending artists into the spotlight. If you're a TikTok, person and you're posting all the time and you have this following and you launch your first single and tons of people go over there, Spotify will notice and push that song into big playlists. Um, I released All Along the Watchtower, and it got recognized by Spotify's release radar, and 80% of the streams are coming from Spotify right now, their release radar. And um, whether or not the algorithm recognized the genre or who the target listener is, I can't really tell you for sure. But what I do know is that I'm reaching a lot of people on that song because of Spotify. So I think that Spotify's doing good work. Of course, a big corporation like that, there's going to be criticism, whether it's Anthony Fantano or other critics in the music space criticizing what Spotify does. But I think it's powerful. I think that if you're an artist and you're thinking about how you're going to get a return on your dollar, you're an indie artist. I think it's the wrong mentality.
Yeah, that's what a lot
For
of older artists complain about, isn't it? It's the money side of it.
I think for me, I just think that if you want to make sure you're making a return, dollar for dollar, and every dollar spent, you're getting a dollar back or two in your music, like that's fine. That's what's your value. That's what you want to hold yourself to. I personally think it's somewhat a limited mindset. I think that sometimes you in art and in the arts you have to spend a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of heart in order to build something, and having a longer view and a longer picture of your life and what you're trying to do than this month did I get back all the money I spent.
Yeah.
I think that's a limited mindset. Maybe some people pull it off, and obviously you could go to Bandcamp or you could do, PayPal situation or paywall for your music. And if you can figure that out, that's cool too. Like I'm not knocking anybody else's strategy. Um, or mentality. There's really no rules in art. Like if you
Yeah.
can make it work and you're thriving and you feel energized, then that's how your art is working. And art and business are not separate. I don't think that they ever have been, and I think that's an illusion that many artists think that like they just need to make art and it's not a business or there's no money. Whether it was the painters like Leonardo da Vinci or Mozart, all the way to Jimi Hendrix signing, these contracts that ripped him off. There's always a side of reality that deals with exchange of value in a practical sense, and I don't think that the artists are above that. If the commerce side takes over everything the artist is doing, it's not really art anymore, but it's not totally black and white either.
Is there any sort of other genres you'd like to explore with your music? Like,
I think the music that we'll be hearing from me over the next 6 months um, will have some range to it, um, but it always comes back to a sort of pop sensibility.
yeah,
Uh, it's important for me to have guitar on the songs as much as possible, real guitar that I play, live drums, and yeah, I think some of it might sound a little bit more hyped up, like the 1975. I
yeah,
would say it's a little bit more pop. Even though it is alternative music, it has a little bit more of that brightness and that like earwormy thing. And some of it is going to be a little bit more raw and indie. Uh, so I'm just looking to make records that I think sound really good, and yeah, bring as much of that live instrument feel into things.
yeah. I like them. What it takes? Is it what it takes? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, there's a song, What It
Yeah,
Takes.
I
Yeah.
really like that song. I had that on my playlist at work today. It was decent. How do you push your
Thank
music
you.
out? Do you just promote it on social media and stuff?
Yeah, listen, I think that the main focus I have is that if I can make the best records I can and really invest in the studio time and the writing, then it will get listened. People crave music. People crave the emotion, the transporting effect. the way it's healing, it's relaxing, all of that. People really do crave music, but it has to be good quality. And I think that making high quality records is really hard. AI can't do it. You can't dial it in, so to speak. You know what I mean? It's not something you can just put plugins all over or download some samples. At least for the genre that I'm trying to do, songwriter, indie pop, alt pop, alternative music that has a songwriter basis. You just have to make really great music and it will get heard. That's my belief. I think that that was overlooked in a lot of the trends last year and stuff with like content, content, content. It's like, well, is the music good?
What are you thinking about AI as well? Because I hate it.
Primarily that it's like it's a lot of marketing. So if they slap the name AI, like they could sell an app to you and like charge you $20 a month to do this thing. I don't really think I haven't seen anything truly intelligent. It's just algorithms that are pretty advanced. They learn, they adapt. But I think that there's a lot of marketing and money grabbing going on while actual useful technology using these adaptive algorithms is sort of more rare. And I think it's less, I want to use a word like flashy. So, like things that would be really practical are less flashy. You may not be able to like just get millions of clicks on it right away in terms of music, but there's a ton of useful technology that could be implemented to help f- what I'm really saying is that I think AI in terms of music could be best used to make more streamline the artistic and production process rather than this concept of like, oh, we're gonna make songs, AI is just gonna make songs. I don't think people really want to hear music from machines. So I think that if you can just help humans make music in a more streamlined, less frustrating way, that would be great. Because the truth is that making records sound really good is extremely challenging, and no matter how much experience you have, each record is a challenge. And I think that if there's a lot of technical skills and analysis and concentration that goes into making records, and I think that technology could really help with that. And I think artists and consumers would be happy if that and pleased and satisfied, and we could all enjoy art better with technology. I think that's what I'd like to see more of the conversation around than like flashy, like gimmicky stuff.
Yeah, defo. Is there anywhere you like sort of want to gig, and is any big venues you want to play or anything yet, or have you got anything lined up?
That's a good question. I've done some performances like small private stuff, and I would love to just do more of that in my local scene in Brooklyn. That would be like a joy for me. And then I think I'm just really focused on the studio and making records and doing a rollout consistent to like really build something that has some substance to it and build up those connections and relationships with people who are interested in this type of music. And hopefully as it builds, I'll be able to put together a little band and start doing some performances probably locally in Brooklyn.
Oh, cool. Is it just you at the minute then? Is it you don't have a backing band or anything yet?
I don't have a backing band. I work sometimes with other instrumentalists or consulting with other people to just or co-writers on occasion. But I don't have a band. I've been in bands. I've had my own band before under different pseudonyms. It's a lot of coordination, and like I said, I think I'm primarily focused on the studio right now, and mostly playing uh, all the instruments myself. The next song I have coming out in a week is called Devote My Whole Life, and it was originally recorded in 2015, and I have a different drummer on that track. Um, and he was in my band at the time. So occasionally you hear instrumentalists, guest instrumentalists, but yeah, primarily focus on making records and getting those records out there and seeing how they move. But I'm constantly rehearsing, on the guitar and making sure that my chops are up, and I love to perform, so hopefully there'll be more of that on the horizon.
Cool, man. That's pretty much it, really. Like, I just wanted to get a little gist of your music and stuff. Like,
Yeah, good luck editing it. It's already too long, but we'll see what
yeah,
you
I
make of
know.
it.
I'll let my wife do that. She's good.
Okay, cool.
But
All right,
thanks
well,
for
thanks
that.
for
Like,
having me on your show, and I'm looking forward to what you do with it.